hear people?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team Bilby. Today we will give a presentation focusing on the acceptance testing on the project ICU Award Certificate. So first, let me introduce our team members. I'm Chun, and I'm the Scrum Master. Shaka is the product owner. Betty, the quality assurance leader. Roy, the development environment leader, and Matthew is the architecture leader. Here is the overview of the presentation. So first, let me give you a bit of the project background. So this project is kindly provided by the Dr. Christian Culture from Intensive Care Unit at Royal Melbourne Hospital. So the thing is, he is using Eventbrite to running his events, but with the increasing number of the events and the participants, he found it difficult to manually create and distribute certificates. So what he wants is a plugin of Eventbrite, which automates the process of development and the distribute of certificate. So the objectives of the project are first help our client or other event organizer create and distribute certificates. And in addition, we also trying to improve the existing communication channel between the organizer and the participants. So here now, this is the project background, and here now is Shaka to discuss the final scope.
Okay. So as you can see, here's what we have delivered. We have delivered a template editor, which is basically a tool that the client can use to create certificate templates. He can add all the features, all the components that he prefers, like recipient name, institution name, and course date. And he can choose different backgrounds. He can save his templates in and use them later. He can use default templates. And we also made an email manager for him, which he can email certificates to his students upon course completion. And he can also email certificates to a print shop in case he wants to get hard copies printed for the students. However, these components, we are sort of in the process of developing them, and we might complete them by the end of this week, and that's exactly what we hope to do. The PDF generator. Although we made, the PDF generator converts the SVG files into PDF files, we have laid the basic framework for it, it works, but we need to integrate it with the main system so that it can work in tandem with the front end and other backend components. And the template interpreter, again, a component that has been made and that works when we do unit testing, but has not been integrated with the main system yet. And this will be used to generate certificates for all the attendees of a course. And this is a pending component which was not really crucial. We discussed it with the client in the very beginning of the semester. This event package feature is not integral to the application. It is more of an extra feature. It's basically a feature that enables the client to save emails and put them in a package and add that package to a course. It's not part of the main scope of the project. Now I call upon Betty to do the quality assurance.
Okay, so I will do the quality assurance. Yeah, so for the quality assurance part of our project, the first thing we want to do is to make the right product. This is related to the functional requirement. So at the beginning of the project, we contact our client and trying to find out the scope of the project. And fortunately, our client is quite clearly about what he wants. So the scope of the project is clearly defined at the start of the project. After that, the prioritizing backlog become important for us. We, in the refined requirement, we separate the high priority backlog from the low priority stories so that we can focusing on those backlog first. And the final thing is we developed the early defined testing specification and plan. So with this document, it helps us to deeply understanding the requirement and understand what the desired outcome of the project. So after we know what is the right product, on the other hand, we need to make the product right. So at the start of the project, we assigned Betty as our quality assurance leader, who is in charge of the testing. She will monitoring and control the testing session through the entire project. And the second thing is the verification and the validation after each sprint. This is to make sure that our outcome of each sprint is well functioning. And the third thing is a regular peer review within team. So everyone in the team know a little bit about what others doing, so it keeps all the team on the same page. The last one is we have a great team normals. For example, we contact with each other on Slack, so we make the communication effective and efficient, so we can find and solving problems faster and easier. So this is the quality assurance. So here now is Betty, our assurance leaders, to discuss about the testing outcomes.
Now I'm talking about the testing tools and the outcomes, about why we feel confident to deliver the project to the clients. So as for the testing tools, because at the beginning of the project, after we assigning the assignments to different people, so some people are responsible for the front-end development, some people are for the back-end. So at the beginning of the project, we used the different tools for the server side and the client side. As you can see now, we use the different tools separately for the unit test in client side and server side. And as time goes by, when both the client side and server side were completed somehow, we combine them using the APIs. So that's how the integration test comes in. We use integration test tool called named Postman to test the combination of the client side and the server side. So here is the figures showing the testing process we are making. As you can see now, there are mainly three parts of the testing: unit testing, integration testing, and the system testing. So first, for the client side, in the unit testing, we basically mainly test the front end without the connecting to the server side. So we test our rendering and manipulating data and storage data locally in our client-side scripts. So during this test, we found two faults. Basically, mainly it is because the different browser versions problems. Some of the some of the features of the PDF SVG editors couldn't be supported well in some older browser versions. I think in the delivery process, we could tell the client somehow to let them know about the browser version support. Then it comes to the server side of the unit testing. server side, they mainly provide the APIs. So before the server side connecting to the client side, we use the Maven to test the different components of the backend. It includes email service, template service, and for the connection of database, and finally the server deployment tests. Here comes the integration testing. So basically, we used the Postman test tool to test to make sure the connection between the client side and the server side is going well. The acceptance testing, we combine it with the system testing. So there are mainly 3 parts we have completed. These are manage templates, print certificates, and email the students. During these tests, there are 1 fault has been found. Basically, I think it is because of the bandwidth speed. So we have after we found this fault, we have written some codes to show the client that this isn't normal. So we can let the clients to refresh the page again. So now let's welcome Ruyi to demonstrate our project.
For the demonstration, there are 2 main functions to present. One is the template management. The other one is the sending the email to students. Assume I'm the course coordinator. After I jump to the award certificate page from Eventbrite, if I want to download and print certificate for students, I will click print a certificate button. On the sidebar on the left hand side, there are a list of available default templates. I can choose one of them. It will be displayed on the main content in the template editor. In the editor, I can edit them by change the color of them or insert the shape. Or I can edit the text of them. After editing them, if I want to save the new editor template, I can click the save button. So it will replace the previous template. But if I want to save it as a new template, I can click save as and input a new name for my template. And save as the new template. The new edit template will appear in the template listed at the left hand side. I can also delete it. It will remove from the template list. Then I can download it. I click it. The course data will be imported from the Eventbrite. I need to choose one of the course I'm responsible for. For example, I'll choose this one. All the students who enrolled in this course will appear below this one, and I can select check-in students, select all students, or click all of them by clicking these buttons, or I can manually click each student name, and then the bunch of certificate including student name will be generated locally. If I want to email those template to certificates to my students, I can click create email. Again, I need to choose the course first, and here available enrolled students. I can select all of them, or click or can manually click each of them, and the email address of selected students will appear in the input text box field. But it's disabled for manually input because to prevent the incorrect email address input. Optionally, I can also input the sender name. And if I want to CC or BCC to others, I can manually input the name of them. But because it's manually input, if I choose, if I input is a wrong format, it will remind me is an invalid email address, so I need to input it again. And the same as the BCC. It will be remind me is invalid, and I will correct it. And I can also input type a subject name for this email. If I want to set the sending time of this email, I can schedule the date and schedule time for the sending email. And next I should choose one template. All the available template from previous page will show at here. I can click one of them and select the corresponding template name will display next to the button. And I can also type some content in the main text box. If I want to choose other files which I want necessary to be attached with this email, I can choose the files and then send in the email. The email include the bunch of certificate of students will be sent to a corresponding email address. We'll ask the Shanka to introduce our delivery.
Hello again. So these are the components that we will be delivering to our client, Dr. Christian Coucher, at the end of the project. So we'll be delivering a source code. The source code will so that if he chooses to modify it, or if some other developer wants to add some function to it, then that is possible. We will address unresolved issues, we will inform him about unresolved issues, and we will give him all sorts of documentation like architecture diagrams and interaction diagrams, which he can use to understand our system. We'll be giving him a sort of user manual like component which he can use to remember the how to use the system. And we will also send him the video that we are recording right now, which basically is the demo of how our application works, which he can use as a reference guide to use our application. And basically handover arrangements here refer to the arrangements or the procedure, which is basically how we are going to email all the necessary components to him, and if possible meet him and demonstrate the application to face to face. So that's our delivery plan. Thank you. Any questions?
Bless you. Twice. Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Do you have an idea of how many requirements have you finished from the total number of requirements?
Well, we have finished out roughly. I would say we have covered around 80 to 75% of the requirements.
Okay. Bless you. When you say on your quality assurance, you say verification and validation that you've done, and also peer review. Could you simply, like, I don't want you to spend 10 minutes telling me this, how was your verification and validation during this process? It wasn't clear to me.
Okay, so the thing is, the verification and validation is kind of like included in peer review, so it's combined them together. So what we do is, because they have two parts for project. The first is the documentations. So it's like we put basically put for example, the architecture designs, also all the concept design task applications. We put all these documents on the conference, so all of the team can view these documents and put their comments under the page, so we can communicate with each other. And for the coding side, we put the UI part of the project is put on the Bitbucket, so everyone can view and review it.
Yeah.
And the server side is in the GitHub.
So is this what you call peer review?
Yeah.
Okay. So you post there, but it's not an obligation, or you're not following exactly that people should go there and comment and analyze, right? So it is available on Confluence,
Yep.
but not necessarily you're sitting with someone and checking that, right? You don't have a, look, I'm just curious, don't stress, right?
Okay.
Don't change your body language. I'm just communicating to understand.
Okay.
If it's a peer review,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like, hey, I've done this coding. Hey Alex, can you come here and do a peer review with me? So formally, we will sit together and I'll explain what I've done, and then we will take notes. Alex will tell me, hey, I think you should add Java doc here comment because I think it's not clear. I think you can change this magic number and add a constant here. So this is peer review. By adding a document to Confluence is not necessarily peer review. That's why I'm asking you, if you got, what was the stage? When I see that on quality assurance, I'm just trying to understand what is peer review for you, that's it.
So basically, whenever we have done a task or put some document on the conference, we will send a message on the Slack to
Yeah.
communicate, and we will say ask everyone in the team to check what we have put in the conference, and if you have any comments, just leave that on the side.
Okay.
It's same as if we have some coding.
That's
but
all right.
we using Jira to control the task,
Yeah.
and so we need to everyone need to confirm the task completed. Then we move them into different lists.
That's all right. And did this work well? So if we go to your Confluence, we will see people commenting?
Yes, and then you can check our Slack.
That's all right. Another thing is, you said you've used Maven for back-end testing. I was quite confused because Maven is it's a tool for managing dependencies, but I haven't really seen Maven being used for testing. So how was that?
Well, you can write integration tests using Maven. I found a couple of tutorials online actually. Basically, it depends on the IDE actually. So in some IDEs, you need to add a class with any class with capital test, capital T, with a name like template followed by test for unit test, and template followed by capital I, capital T for integration test. But in NetBeans, what you need to do is you need to right click on a class and you need to say You have to click on tools and create test, and it will automatically create test classes for you. Maven will automatically create test classes for you. And then you can, in those test classes, you will have functions that are annotated with @test, and you can test various functions in that are part of the class, and it will also create some functions for you, and then you need to run that file to run the tests.
So was that for your unit test?
It was mainly for the unit test, yeah.
Okay. And what did you do for your integration? Was Postman, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the coverage in terms of your requirements? How much have you tested?
We tested what kind of?
So let's say if you have 100 requirements, have you written tests for all of them? Or what is the percentage? I'm just interested. Again, what I'm asking you, there is no right or wrong. I'm just curious. I'm just checking how much you've done and what was your experience in all of this. So you don't need to stress. I'm not here to put you in a bad position. I'm honestly just curious. So do you have a coverage percentage that you know, for example, from 100 requirements, we've gone into 50, but from those 50, we have written 500 tests, let's say. So what was this experience? Because to me, was those numbers like 32 tests and 18 tests, and was that all?
Basically, we choose what we have done from the requirements because we didn't complete 100% of all the requirements. So from what we have done, the parts, we choose each of them, and we generate some data to test each requirements for each requirement.
Yeah, that's all right. That's fine. Do you have questions?
Yeah, I do. So can you go back to your demo for a second? Because I missed a couple of things. So you have variables, right? Like as in names of the students, something that is going to be replaced when you generate the certificates.
You mean download or?
Well,
I have
say,
the same question.
Or the email.
say that you have 100 people attending, right? You want to, in the final certificate that someone gets, you want their name in that certificate,
Yeah.
right? So my question is, what variables have you defined, and how do you kind of put that, embed that into the certificate? Say, I want the name here.
That is the job of the template interpreter, which was made with the help of JSoup, which is a freely available library for Java. It can help you parse XML files, because basically these are SVG files. Our certificates are SVG files, which is XML. So we can look at the various tags, and we can look at the text tag, because the certificate will, the student name variable, because notice that we have a student name variable here. We have this student name variable here.
Yeah.
Well, that's my question. What elements in that template are variables?
The student name, we are going to tell our client that he should add student name like this here, in this format, so that this student name, when our parser sees this variable student name, it will know that there's where I must add the student name.
So what else is a variable? The date?
And
Date,
provider?
probably, yeah. Date is also
Probably, so-
a provider is not a variable exactly, because there is just one provider.
All right, okay. So say that you are doing a course, and I'm going to try to teach you different skills in that course, like transporting patients or doing first aid or whatever, and I want to add something new there. Would the client be able to add a new variable?
According to the requirements of the client, only student name will change from certificate to certificate.
Okay.
So we really didn't look into that,
Okay.
because it was not mentioned in the
Yeah,
requirements.
but you've written that parser yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So would it be, I'm not telling you, show me how we do it, but would it be feasible to add additional variables?
If it depends on the background of the person who is modifying the parser.
Yeah, assuming that they have technical background.
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
When you, for this example, you were selecting, when you went to the, you selected users, then you picked the template, the certificate, and then you were sending the email as the example that you were showing on your demo. At that stage, when you add your email, are you getting the certificate already on your email and with your name on it?
I believe so, yes.
So in one of those tabs, you had Gmail. Can you open that email that you showed us before real quick? Can you show us the attached file?
Or did you get the,
Did you add any
the
attachment?
simulation?
No, because of the, as we said, the integrations of PDF generator and the interpreter is still going on. So
Okay.
so we got the component, but it didn't haven't finished the
Okay,
integrations
okay,
to the
okay.
whole system.
Okay.
So in here it's just show it's the successful email sending, but the certificate is currently is not on the email.
We have the function which attaches the certificate to the email, but we need to integrate it,
Yeah.
which we hope to do.
So that's gonna happen.
It's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, because I think this is core for your system.
Yeah.
I don't think that is something that is too desirable or optional. I really think this is
Yeah.
essential for what you are like proposing. It's definitely a main requirement. So if you can, that would be a plus. Yeah.
Can you add pictures to that template?
Yes.
Okay. Because I didn't see that in the interface either. Can you show us how it's done? Okay.
By the way, this is a good interface. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you have a frame there, like a blue frame.
Yes.
Yeah, and change the color of the.
You can change the color, and can you add any other design, or that's kind of
You
the
can also,
default?
you can also change the background of it by insert the image for.
You can have another background if you.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, you are saying, all right, you could add whatever you want as long as it's like a frame around it or not, or you put images or whatever shaping. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Could Melbourne Uni add their PNG, for example, and use as a template, and just add the labels on top of that?
They could,
Yeah.
they could set it as a background.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
Okay. Yeah, happy with that.
We're asking again because we're curious. Like, it's the first time I'm seeing, so don't take it like negative.
No worries.
I'm curious. It would be worse if I didn't have questions. Believe me. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.